Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Today I have Satanik. So Satanik is the co-founder of HyperXchange and is been in the Forbes 30 under 30 India Asia 2021. So thank you very, very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lakshya.
Yes. So Satanik, before we get into any conversation, why don't you introduce yourself, about your work and everything you do?
All right. So I'm the co-founder of HyperXchange. HyperXchange is one of East India's like we started out of East India. All right. Like we are currently a global brand. We are in the refurbished market. Right. We were like our R&D is based on Scotland. We have our sales in US, Europe, and the UK market as well. And I started HyperXchange way back in 2016. I was still in my college dorm room back then. I was doing my mechanical engineering. I did my engineering in mechanical from SR University Chennai and then post graduation from Stanford. Right, came back, started HyperXchange with my co-founders, Dipan and Pragasta and Ashish Chakravarti. We have been backed by several investors, including Microsoft, IM Calcutta, CP Gundani, the CEO of Tech Mahindra, Devu Mukherjee, the CMO of United Breweries Group, Mukesh Soni, who is the executive chairman of JP Morgan, so on and so forth, and several other angel investors. Right. So that's a quick background. Yes, I have also been featured as a case study in in IIT Delhi, and as well as I've been featured as a case study in our Prime Minister Narendra Modi's PMU. This year, I'm the first entrepreneur from East India to have been over have myself over in Forbes 30 and the 30 list, both in India as well in Asia.
Great. So thank you. Again, I hope to learn a lot of things from you in this session, and I hope the people who are watching also hope to learn a lot of things. And I surely think we learn a lot of things from you. So first, what is the idea of HyperXchange? What was the thing which made you start HyperXchange, and what's the whole story behind that?
So HyperXchange actually, the thing that actually happened with HyperXchange was, I was in my college dorm room, right, uh, we see a very interesting fact in any of the colleges, right, be it in India, be it in abroad, right. Uh, the first years when they're joining the college, they probably need the beds, the mattresses, the books. Those are the exact things the final years are leaving behind and walking out, and it is really difficult for the first years and the final years to connect because of several reasons. That could be because of, say, for example, the ragging issue. The first years and the final years aren't allowed to interact much, and of course, they are the super seniors, right? So you probably know your seniors, super seniors, but super seniors are really
Hmm.
that small time span, right? Maybe that 3 months, 6 months, that to create a bond with them, understand and realize, who is probably having what to trade off is a different thing.
Hmm.
So basically, we thought, how about creating a platform where this transaction or say this exchange can happen. That was the first idea of HyperExchange. We realized the logistic issues around it that would have been a nightmare, and also we realized the highest per square inch value of any device is a mobile phone. All right,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can probably fit a 1 lakh rupee car in your garage, but a 1 lakh rupee phone just needs your pocket. So the
Hmm.
highest per square inch value of any device is a mobile phone, and that's when we focus on the what HyperExchange is today.
Hmm.
So as said, we are the largest in India. We are the largest brand for refurbished, and we are one of the top brands globally today for refurbished electronics.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful. So and this was just through all the things which were going on, and you got to know about the problems, and then you got solution to it, right? So how were the initial days for you to realize ki this is a problem, and then we have to work on it, and how were the initial days of working and creating something?
I guess for any and every startup, the initial days are both fun as well as on a journey which brings on several hurdles, several challenges, so on and so forth. Right? And uh, my story wasn't any different. Right? Being a first generation entrepreneur, starting out of our dorm room without any corporate experience, I think no, those challenges, those hurdles were there. Right? The initial team building, be it say the initial sales page, right? and probably trying to get yourself a slot on an for an interview, right? So everything was probably something you're looking forward to, and of course, like we always have this dream, right? Whenever, at least in India, any startup founder starts something, the first dream is, how do I get my first round of funding? And to be very honest, now having raised several millions of dollars over the years, several rounds of funding, we probably do not even expect what are the challenges that comes post the funding happens. So it's a different story altogether. But I truly believe, getting a first sets of customers, making a product work on the market, and getting a validation for the journey you are into, right? The story you're trying to weave, the story you're trying to tell in the market is very challenging and important at the same time. Love the journey, but that is the first point you probably have to prove out in the market.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. And and what are the problems you see right now in the industry, and how do you think, as a whole, you can try to solve those problems? Every entrepreneur can, come up and solve those problems. What are the things you see?
I would say, see, the entrepreneurship or the startup ecosystem altogether, it's of course not something I would say there's any problem around it, because it perfectly fits it, right? Yes, definitely. I think India is at a place where we do not have even the first 100 unicorns yet. So as we do not have the first 100 unicorns yet, we aren't a matured market, probably like the Valley or say Israel, which is doing great in last couple of years, or say even last 6 years, and so on and so forth, right? So there are the challenges where new industries, when they happen, it's really difficult to probably make a mark initially,
Hmm.
to get the validation from the market when new industries are budding out. Right?
Hmm.
I think those challenges also brings with them the opportunities within them. Right? Today, with lesser unicorns, with probably lesser competition, and say lesser maturity in the market, that also really makes the market an open ground for so many players to play. Right? You probably would have an e-commerce such as Minta, but that also allows an e-commerce, say for example, say Nika, to also have a different market capture altogether, right?
Yeah,
So those are the equal challenges and opportunities I see as more of an opportunity than really a challenge out there in the market. Definitely.
great, great. Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. So, how, what of today's entrepreneur in India must see? What a startup must see? How do you think a startup must move on, and what are the problems they must recognize and try to solve through their idea, or how they can make a startup which is trying to solve a major problem? So, what do you think a person should see to solve a problem and make money throughout it, like in the sense to solve that problem? Because when you're solving a problem, then people will give you money because you're solving a problem, for sure, right? So what can they do to see the problem?
uh, there's probably one word I always use whenever I get a question very similar to this, or say on similar grounds, is one word is persistence. All
Hmm.
right. We, as say any startup what, so basically, if we look at the definition of a startup, it's probably an innovation, or say a technology which has not been say used before, which is totally something people are trying to solve with probably a totally a new approach, right?
Hmm.
When that happens, that also means like you probably have to first of all, go to the market. uh, Before you get the customer validation, the first thing is to educate the customer, what are you actually trying to do, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it actually becomes so complex, like the customer never understands what the solution was or the solution is, right?
Hmm.
And that is what we say many of the startups uh, were before time, right? Were just before time,
Hmm.
right? They could not succeed just because they are before time. There
Hmm.
was MySpace, but Facebook came in and took the entire market. uh, there was probably there's so many different startups, but I think one of the initial startups. So the first e-commerce probably happened in India somewhere around 1999, if I'm not
Hmm.
wrong, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yet Flipkart happened in somewhere around 2007, and Flipkart, took the entire e-commerce industry by a storm, right? So sometimes the issue. So what was the real difference? Was it because definitely there was the internet penetration that played a greater role, but on the other hand, there are stories that people will explain, right? And people love simple stories. People love stories which are easy to understand, right? Which does not have a lot of technical jargons, so on and so forth. I think that is really important. Right?
Hmm, hmm,
And over time, every of the startup takes time. Just today, I shared a post which came as one of the memories in Facebook. Right? 5 years back, one of the most prolific investors of the Indian ecosystem mentioned Zomato would definitely fail.
hmm,
Right?
hmm.
Zomato does not have their unit economics correct. They are probably a hype just because of the valuation. Right? And Dipender Goyal replied to it to the same tweet and said, so give us some time. We'll actually show you what we are.
Hmm, hmm.
Exactly 5 years later, today we know Zomato is just filing for an IPO. Right? It takes a lot of time. It does take a lot of time to be over there. The one and only thing that will drive you, that will take you, is persistence, nothing else. Probably you're trying to tell a story which you're not able to narrate today, but over time, even you mature as a person. Over time, you mature as an entrepreneur. Over time, you mature knowing what the ecosystem, or say what the market is demanding. That is how you build your story up. Probably pivot multiple times to multiple different things, and then finally reach at a point where now it's a time for you to be over there on a global scale.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
persistence is a key. Nothing else can actually help you build a startup story out there.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, great, great. I totally agree with you on that. Sure, sure, totally. So my question next that about is to would you to you would be that key. How you know how to create such kind of an startup? What does it takes a startup to be a unicorn, and how can that a startup can achieve it? Yeah.
First and foremost thing, as said, I think persistence will still be very over here, right? On a separate note, it also means like where well over time you have built this story in a way where there's true value for the customer, right? That really defines like there's probably a problem that definitely existed in the market is now being solved, right? And definitely the problem is so big, what we call the size of the market. The size of the market, how do we realize what the size of the market is? The size of the market is only realized based on the fact like how many people are actually at a stage where they are facing the same problem, right? If we are able to communicate and pitch a solution uh, which is unique and which is scalable. I mean scalable as in, I'll give you a very short example today. uh, our entire business model, right, just based on one thing, that is the Faraday. So what does this Faraday do? So basically, when we started the refurbished market, we realized the biggest challenge in this market is trust and transparency. Trust is something we are building with probably a brand focused growth.
Mm,
Brand
mm,
focused growth, as in where each of the refurbished device that is sold by HyperXchange comes with 12 months warranty. It comes with in a sealed box. It comes with 9 months replacement warranty. No check service, right? And every device that is being sold, there's a tree being planted against it. Right? So those stories help to create a brand. Those stories help to create the trust. Now coming back on the part of transparency. Right? So to give you an overview about the refurbished market, it's a $80 billion market. 95% of this market is gray.
mm, mm.
Interestingly, that meant there's a huge opportunity and scope to probably bring transparency in the market, probably bring a lot of structure in the market, help to be a structured player, and that itself would create the success. Right? That's what we focused on. So while focusing on that, we realized the problem does not start in terms of the end cells, or probably where the product is just going out to the customer.
Hmm.
The problem starts on the grassroots level.
Okay.
Grassroots level, as in today, when a refurbished or second-hand device is being procured in the market, no one knows what the value of the product is, because say for example, we have this, local, say, refurbishment centers, so say local second-hand dealers in every hook and nook of the city wherever we are living in, right? If you are probably living in Delhi, you have the Gafar market. If you're probably living in Bombay, uh, you have the Lavender market over there. If you are probably living in Kolkata, you have the Khidipur market over here, right? Once you go over there, what they really do is, they take the phone in their hand and say, I'll probably pay 5,000 bucks for this. But why 5,000 bucks? Why not 4,900? Why not 5,001? It's because of the fact, uh, this is based on assumption. So that last time they procured a device, they probably took in, say, 100 devices,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Out of the 100 devices they took, 70 of them worked, 30 did not work,
mhm.
right? Now, based on that assumption, they are probably, getting a number right in their mind and saying, this is the amount I'm going to pay. So end of the day, I'm probably still making, say 1,000 bucks, maybe
Mm,
whatsoever the number is.
mm,
Right?
mm.
But you cannot build a structured billion-dollar business based on assumptions. There has to be clear data. There has to be clear numbers. There has to be clear facts.
Mm.
And that was missing in the market. That's when we created something, an artificially intelligent machine, which also uses machine learning and which uses machine learning and also image processing to get the value of a device. So it has different versions, but like the app version, the retail version, also a B2B, a bulk version, right? So basically, you just go over there, place your machine, like an ATM. It shows you the value of the device, right? You accept, money comes out, you reject, the device comes out,
Yeah.
and this has different versions as mentioned. All right, that entirely changed the market altogether.
Mm, mm.
Today, my I do not procure any phones on my own anymore. These are being done by, say, third party procurement centers, say third party individual franchisees. So basically, there's someone sitting in Tokyo, or probably someone sitting in Johannesburg, who is doing the procurement for me in their local market, just using the Faraday. I know what is the device is procured. I do not have to go out there and probably create a franchisee out there or a store out there myself. All I'm doing is I'm giving this person a Faraday machine, and he or she is building a local channel on their own over there, right? So I'm really sorry. Yeah. So those that really changed the market statistics for us. That
Mm.
was on the part of the procurement. The same was regarding the part of refurbishment. Our refurbishment does not happen. As in, I don't have a refurbishment center on my own. It's not on my books, right? These are also done by third-party people, right?
Mm.
So these are being done by third-party people. So as soon as the procurement happens, it comes to the refurbishment center, right? They procure local, say for example, the standardized spare parts, etc., to make the refurbishment happen. All right, these are there's a standard SOP where they have to maintain a certain product grade, certain quality, so that it's 100% genuine, so on and so forth. Similarly, that also uses the Faraday. So when the product is coming out of the Faraday, it tells me what is the value of the what is the delta change that has happened over there. If the delta change is not up to the mark, up to the SOP we have set the standard upon, this is rejected, right? And I'm not paying this vendor unless it's up to the quality or up to the process I want it at. Right? And my sales is also being taken care by my third party players, by my third party franchises, etc. I am just focusing on one thing. Whatever the marketing, whatever the investment dollars I raise, just focus on one thing. That is brand building. Right? I
Mm.
do not procure. I do not refurbish. I do not sell. Those have all been automated and been, on the books of someone else. All I'm focused on is creating a brand. Right. So that's my experiences I found, and that can only happen because of automation. And once you have already proven in one market, that is when you can globally scale the similar model in different places. As I said, today I have my procurement happening in Johannesburg. Today there's someone, so like in Tokyo using a Faraday and doing the local procurement and sales over there, local market. That's how the gig economy is what we are trying to create over here.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And it did sound interesting. It sounds really wonderful as you are seeing that. And so before ending up with just one, two, three, two
Hello.
questions more, I would like to ask you is what is your major thing which you learned in your
Do you
entrepreneurial.
do I have you over here?
So, Stanik, my last question to you would be that key. What has been your major learnings? You know, you were telling us about all your processes, business model to journey and everything. What is your learnings through this, and what would be your advices to the entrepreneurs who wish to create something? Yeah, two questions together.
All right. Uh, Couple of learnings. I think any degree out there in the market would probably make you ready for industry. Even then, I think most of us will agree to this. We are never industry ready, even after probably even scoring 100% and probably securing a great rank in the university here rank. But entrepreneurship will definitely teach you the best lessons out there in life. It probably and whenever you're a startup founder, right, you get to learn everything. Say for example, how do you build relationships, right? How do you build teams? How do you build relationships with people cold calling? How do you build relationships with customers, right? How do you manage finance? How do you manage funds? uh, how do you manage operations? How do you think and build strategies?
Yeah.
How do you scale businesses? How do
Hmm.
you go and get people who are there, say, say borders apart, right? And
Hmm.
create businesses in different cities, different countries. So even if you fail, like most of the chances are you might not succeed 3 years, 5 years down the line, and you would fail. But instead of going to a job 3 years and 5 years down the line and say, I probably have done this degree, probably go over there and say, no, I have probably scaled this business from scratch to say almost 2.5, 3 crores, raised another 2 crores of funding or say 5 crores of funding, but could not scale. I failed. Here are my learnings. This, right? Here are how many customers I grew on day zero from to month one to probably month 12 to probably month 24 to month 36 before I failed entirely and came back. There's a greater scope. You'll probably brag a bigger job opportunity, a bigger check than going just with a degree and say, these are my learnings. This is how much I have secured in my first semester. This is how much I have secured in the second semester. So it's a great journey, right? If you are thinking about starting something in your career in the startup field, in the entrepreneurship field, it's there's no right time. Jump off the cliff, build your airplane before you hit the ground. That's the only way out there.
Hmm.
No other way, right? That's the biggest lesson out there, and I think as entrepreneurs, that has been my personal learning. I myself have learned a lot. As I said, I did not have any major any corporate experience altogether before starting HX or my last startup, right? So this is the story I wanted to share, and this is probably my advice to everyone out there.
Great, great. So thank you very, very much, Stanik. It was a pleasure to have you. Very wonderful to hear all about your story about your company and what you do there, and a lot of things to take away from this episode. So thank you very, very much for being here. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lakshit. Thank you so much. Thank you,
My
everyone.
pleasure. Yeah.